This is Honors Algebra 2 Pre-Calc. We're doing 10.6 in Pre-Calc, which is parametric equations. In example 7, we're given y equals 3 cosine squared of x on the window from x is 0 to 2 pi. And we're asked to parameterize the equation. So again, the easiest way to do this is to assign the currently independent variable, which seems to be x, to just be t or theta or whatever you want to pick. And you could pick theta here because it's a trig function, or you could pick t. It's fine. I'm going to go with t. So I'm going to pick the easy route, which is to say that x of t equals t, right? Which would mean that y of t would just be a 3 cosine squared of t, and that's totally fine, right? However, because there was a restriction on the domain of the original question, I need to put the same restriction in terms of t. Well, here, because I picked this option where x and t are the same, I can just use exactly the same restriction, and that's fine. But what I want to show you in a second is that there's another way, like if you had picked a slightly more complicated x value, right, then you'd have to adjust, your domain accordingly. So this is the easiest option, right? This is by far the easiest. It accomplished the goal. It's completely fine. If you wanted a slightly different option, what if you had chosen to make x, I don't know, let's make x of t 2t, okay? If I had done that, then what would happen is essentially my x would be equal to 2t, so x over 2 would be my t, right? Like that's what this would be, what gets replaced. So my y of t would be a 3 cosine squared of an x over 2, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's also totally fine. However, now when I do my domain restriction, what I want you to notice is, since x is the same as 2t, I would have 0 is less than or equal to 2t is less than or equal to 2 pi, so the domain restriction would have to, essentially, I'd divide everybody by 2 to solve for t, and my domain restriction would be from 0 to pi, right? So this would be that second option, right? And again, there's no reason that you need that, right? This is slightly harder. This is a slightly harder option, but one of the things I want to show you is that there are multiple ways to do this kind of question. And again, sometimes it's just way easier to, in fact, almost all the time, it's way easier to just say, hey, let's call x t, and then that makes everything a lot easier, okay?